Um, so you have to think about it. Hi, Lucy.
Hi, good morning. Long time no see.
Yeah, we had the session with the family yesterday with Lucy. Hmm. So you mentioned at the very end when you were saying goodbye, there was a little one knocking on my door. So you have a baby?
It was my nephew.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, he was not happy that I like kind of rushed in and went to get on a meeting.
I see. How old
Mhm.
is the nephew?
He's 3.
Okay. So do you guys have children, Chelsea?
No, I've got a nephew that I semi-raised who's 7.
Semi-raised?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and then I had a foster daughter from age of 2 to almost 5.
Wow. Hi,
Good
Crown.
morning, everyone.
Good morning. How did you come to be a foster parent?
I actually knew her mom. It was through kinship care.
Mm, okay.
Her mom was a single mom and she was really overwhelmed and had some mental health issues and wanted to give up the kid for a while. And I took her in.
Okay. How was that experience for you?
It was hard. Hard
Mm,
is the biggest adjective there.
okay.
It was good.
What
Um,
was the hardest part?
she had a lot of behavioral issues at the beginning because her mom hadn't really been parenting at all. Um, she just didn't know how. So like she wasn't on a schedule. She didn't understand any. Didn't have any rules or expectations. So like we got her on just like even like a star chart, changed her behavior like almost overnight.
Yeah.
Um, and they've been co-sleeping, so bedtime was always like an issue.
Okay. So I sent a document yesterday to Lizzie. Did you get it? The Alison Schaefer document?
I did not. You said you sent it last night, right?
Uh-huh.
I didn't get one from you.
Why not? Let me see. Oh, darn. Okay, so let me send you guys this document right away.
Okay.
Um, okay. Um, why didn't I? That was interesting. Where is it?
We had a very exciting meeting.
You want to tell a little bit about it?
Yeah. So initially we met with, and when I say we, I was kind of just present. Sylvia was running it, but we met with the whole family, and Sylvia instantly picked up on something that I've noticed in the past too, that the daughter was very like reserved and speaking with her parents there. So Sylvia had asked for the parents to step out, and then the daughter just completely was like word vomiting like all that she was holding in. And was a lot more open.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
our 20-minute meeting was an hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. It's 20 minutes was unrealistic.
When you said 20 minutes, I was like, I know this is not going to be 20 minutes.
Right. Because I expected that we were going to do like just the part of the introductions in the family, but of course I was not prepared to, for what happened. Mm, it is, I have this sensitivity for children. I, you know, I I'm like, I say something very arrogant. I say that I was inspired by Jesus, when he said, let the children come to me. Because I think children are so misunderstood so often, right? And sometimes, see now that you were talking about behavior, we have this idea. I'll tell you this story. I was trained as a medical doctor, I practiced medicine for 20 some years, 21, I think. And then I started work with adolescents, with teenagers. It was something, maybe my daughter was growing up, and I say, I need to, approach her in a different way. And I created a group with her peers. And suddenly I was thrown into this world of the adolescents, right? And I'm fascinated by adolescents. I am absolutely, I mean, they have new eyes, right? They see the world in a fresh way. And we are all the time crushing them. And and so I connected with what had happened to me, okay, which was pretty much the same. That when I became an adolescent, my relationship with my parents changed right away, right? My father stopped being, mm, they changed completely. I started to have conflict with my mother right away. I was like, this cannot be like that. What's the problem? Let me see if this is the document that I want to share. And so yes, this is the document. So I decided that I wanted to do something with adolescents. And I say, as a doctor, I won't do it. So it's a series of events led me to go to Canada to study art therapy.
Mm.
And that was fantastic. So those of you who have seen play therapy, it's not very different from play therapy. That's a similar approach. And the thing that struck me the most is when you're dealing with children, don't focus on behavior. Behavior has a meaning. You need to get the meaning. And so this is what this document that I was trying to get um, uh, is about. So this is Alison Schaefer. Diana and I did training together with her. And one of the things that she says is this, children have an innate desire to be good. They need to feel that they have a role, means that they are connected, that they can become independent, so it means they are capable, have something to contribute, so they count, and they have permission to be imperfect. So
Mhm.
that requires courage, right? So Alison Schaefer talked about those C's, connecting, connected, capable, courageous, and counting. Those two C's is what she focused on. So she says, okay, you want to look at the behavior, but look at what the behavior means. Okay? So when the child seeks attention, the missing C is connected. So or she, the kid is doing things that are like shouting, please notice me. So what we need to do is redirect and distract. And absolutely try to help them feel connected. The other C is the behavior that you see of the dance because she doesn't talk about behavior, she talks about dances. And so he's seeking power. And so the child is trying to demonstrate they know more, they can do more, they are better, they are competing, right? They are seeking power. They are trying to demonstrate that they are capable. So they are very stubborn. They always need to win. And the parents feel angry all the time. So what we need to do is give them choices and responsibilities that help them decide. The other behaviors when they are revengeful, interestingly enough, the missing C is they need to be counted. They need to feel included.
Mhm.
And so their actions tend to hurt or destroy. And what the parents need to do is to listen instead of defending the one who was attacked or defending themselves, or you know. The last missing C is refers to courage. So they look inadequate all the time. They say silly things. They, there's the visitors in the house and they are doing the monkey, that kind of thing. And we look at these kids want some independence. They want to feel that they can make decisions on their own. They need to prove that they are not inadequate, basically. So the parents need to encourage acceptance of imperfection, and focus on effort, not on outcome. This is so very important. I send you this document for you to look it to look it further. There's a little, more content there, but we're gonna talk about this later a little bit more. Is very, very important to understand what behavior means, because we are all the time just wanting to correct the behavior. The message is always, don't do that, and don't do that in front of the visitors. you know, we are ashamed of what they are doing. Oh my God, this is my child. If the child behaves like that, it means that I'm such a bad parent. And that's why behavioral approaches sometimes don't work at all. They work for a little bit. Who arrived? Okay. So, where is my? Let me talk about these misconceptions. This is so very important. You're gonna recognize this right away. Where is this? Windows slideshow, play from the start. Okay. Oh, no, not from the start. Oh boy. I wanted to share from that slide. Now I have to go all the way down. Let me see.
Sometimes there's a button at the bottom that looks like a little like screen that you can press at the bottom that just presents from there right away.
No, okay. I'll have to find it. Okay.
I can show you that next time you have it pulled up because that might be easier than looking through the top.
I see what you mean. Okay. Let me see. So here we are. And I'm going to share. I'm going to share here. This button down here? No.
Go over to the right. So where you just were at the bottom, do you see right by the little plus and minus thing? The
Uh-huh.
little and it kind of looks like a TV screen with a little right there, yeah.
All right. Okay.
That may make it easier for you in the future.
Yeah, so I want you to look at your own life while I'm talking about this, okay? Just connect with your own experience as a child. Can you do that? Instead of looking at how we can apply this to other children, just think about yourself as a child. I'm going to ask you to do something that sometimes feels uncomfortable. I want you to look at the mistakes your parents made. Make sense? Are you okay doing that? Talk
Yes,
to me.
I am.
Okay. Yeah, okay. This is important because it's difficult to criticize your parents. Where did it go? Okay. Um, so see, the mistakes that parents make come from the idea, why doesn't he want to stay there? The idea that the child is born wild. And I've heard this so many times. We think not only sometimes that the child is born wild, but we think that the child is born bad. And this is sometimes what justifies the physical punishment. So from this first idea comes the idea that we need to rein in the children. And also the myth of a bad seed. Do you know in a family, you look at your uncles and aunts, and you hear things like, yeah, but he's into trouble now, but he was always like that, right? He was always messing up. He was born like that. There's a very interesting idea that we are born in a certain way. There's a genetic predisposition, and it does something to the parents, which is it protects them from taking responsibility. Um, um, you know, we think that we need a child who's well behaved, but the well behaved child might only be compliant. He's not getting in any important information, he's not in making it like a reflective process that my parents told me to behave in this way, and this is because the outcome or the consequences, or no, it's they are just pleasing the parents when they are compliant. So that's not really a modification of behavior. There's also we live in a society that is very hierarchical, right? So we have this assumption. Remember, we were talking about the assumptions. And we have this assumption that the parents always know better. When we listened yesterday, Lizzie, to the child, the mother was always correcting there, right? She was trying
Mm-hmm.
to explain things.
Mm-hmm.
When we listened to the child, she knew better. She was
Mm-hmm.
very aware of her feelings, the rivalry, um, because in her mind, I mean, she was for 6 or 7 years the only child, and suddenly comes this other child, and what happens? She doesn't understand why she receives more care while she's always being corrected or maybe punished or whatever is happening there.
Right. That's the only attention she's getting. It's
Right.
the corrective stuff because everything else she's so independent on, which you touched on that at the end of
Mm-hmm.
our session.
Right. And then the other thing is, this is very English. It's not so common with the Hispanic, some of the Hispanics, not all of them, but Latin American children tend to be more expressive. They are more the wildness is not seen as so bad. They it's like a little bit the parents saying, "Oh, they are monkeys. Don't pay attention." Right? So it's a little bit like that kind of attitude. In the Anglo world, and I think the Germans also a lot, it's, the parents feel very embarrassed when the child misbehaves. Mm, yeah, so they are all the time on top of the child. Don't cry, don't shout, don't. And because expressing emotions is socially unacceptable. It's like you're not control. I remember my father, who he was from Colombia, but he had lived a little bit in Europe when he was little. And I remember I went to I probably it was in France. I don't remember, but it was no, in England. Maybe we were there in Europe. I don't remember exactly where. And I remember my father all the time asking me. I was 17 already. All the time asking me to don't don't speak so loud. Don't speak so loud. And his rationale was like, English people don't do that. He was very conscious of the difference in the, in cultures. And so, mm, uh,
Sylvia, can I interrupt for a sec?
yes.
It's me. I just got here because my client didn't show.
Oh, hi.
Hey.
How are you? I'm not seeing you because I don't have the gallery on.
I know. I know. That's why I wanted to let you know.
Okay, hello.
I just wanted to say very quick two things. The first one, when you guys were talking about the meeting yesterday with that family, and Lizzie said that was the only time that she got attention from her parents. I was going to say, imagine if we were to switch that word attention for connection, right? So that would be the only time that she could actually connect with parents, and that happens a lot. It's mostly in a way of like, I'm doing something wrong, right, in their minds, and they need to correct my behavior, and that's the only way I can
Yeah,
connect with these parents,
yeah, yeah, that's,
right?
yeah,
And the other thing that I wanted to say is I was actually on my way to the office this morning listening to a podcast from Lisa Dion. She's a play therapist, and she was talking about boundaries. So you just talked about like how your father used to say like, "Hey, you're too loud. Please quiet your voice," right? And Lisa was talking about how there are boundaries that come from like our own need, and actually what's the environment, like protection or safety for the child or the environment, right, or myself. And most of the time when those boundaries come from our own need, is like we should really like think twice before we set it up, because maybe if the child is being too loud, maybe I can do something about it, right? Maybe I can take a deep breath, take some distance, do something about it, rather than maybe placing some shame on the child who is maybe talking loud, right?
right,
Or if I decide to place a boundary, I could maybe say how I feel, right? Like maybe, hey, like I hear your voice is loud, and I honestly feel a little dysregulated about it.
yeah,
Is it possible, or can we, right? Like talk to the, like if we're talking to the little ants instead, right? Instead of kind of like saying what you're doing is wrong.
right, right. And I'm thinking of a family lunch that I had with a cousin and his children, and what they did was they handled the phone so that they would be quiet.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's a big one.
that's how we're using the cell phone,
Mm-hmm.
the devices. We're using the devices to have them quiet.
Right. That's the new boundary.
That's a
That's
new
the new way
boundary,
of
yeah.
using it.
It is. And that's something that's been interesting talking about like criticism of our own parents, like having grown up with my parents and then now seeing them parent my nephew and watching the difference in how other kids his age are being raised with the tablets versus my parents. They don't ever use technology. So that's like one of the benefits of their like old schoolness is like they're never going to put him in front of a tablet. They're going to play like what is the one where I spy games with him, or what sound does this animal make when he's dysregulated at dinner. So that's something I've noticed too, which is like the interesting side of like taking what they've learned from their age of parenting and adapting it now.
Right, right. Yeah. No, this is not scrolling down. Why not? Oh, there it is. Okay. So we need to debunk these myths. So I'm going to say what parenting is not. So it's not about taming the child. It's not about imposing our ideas, lifestyles, and values. It's not a struggle but it can be demanding. It's not automatic. I remember when the moment came to potty train my daughter, and I asked my mother, how do I make her sit in the potty thing? And she said, oh, when the moment comes, you will know how to. I was like, what? And she would say that, um, you know, you will know. And so there's no training for the parents, you know. We parents are not aware of how what they say, what they do affect the children. So we need to let them know. We need to train. We need to share experiences with them because parenting is not automatic. The only automatic part is that we are transmitting whatever we learn, intra and intergenerationally. And parenting is not just loving and caring, and is not renaming fear strategies as tough love. Please, not tough love. Um, I no, I am the kind of mother. Diana heard this story before that in the supermarket, I hear a child crying, and that's like a magnet for me. So I go to wherever the child is crying, and the mother is embarrassed. I mean, she wants the child to stop no matter how. And what I do is I get in and I start talking to the child. It's like, oh my God, it seems that you are upset. I'm sorry. I wonder what happened. Are you okay? And the child opens his eyes or her eyes and looking at me like there's this monster coming from space. Mm, like, what does it mean? Somebody's listening to my crying and not shouting back at me. And in 90% of the cases, the child will regulate himself or herself in a moment, in just a few seconds. All he wants or she wants is to be acknowledged. It's that simple, you know. When they are misbehaving, as we saw in the chart from Alison Schaefer, when they are what we call misbehaving, they are trying to tell us something. Just listen. That's what we want the parents to know. They need to listen to see what is this about. Mm, we cannot motivate anyone and let fear. You will see when we arrive home. That's fear, right? You see, I'll tell your father. That's fear. All these things that we do, instilling fear in the child, is not motivating the child to do anything. Okay? So, and this is so valid for schools who have this idea that they need you know, to instill fear all the time. I'm not going to go through this one because it makes me mad. But it was about this movie where they assume that the children, if left on their own, they will necessarily become savages. That's not true.
And Sylvia, something to add to that, that was a required reading when I was in elementary school.
Oh boy.
So we all had to read that book,
Oh
which
my.
perpetuated that belief that if we were left alone, we would have become savages. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Thank you for sharing that. And this is what I see all the time. Children being kind. And one, I lost my collection. I had a collection of TikToks. I don't know what I did with them. And I had, saved these TikToks that were all about children being kind. And they are all kind all the time. And I want you to, part of what you're going to journal about this week is observe and look at kindness in children everywhere. Look at them, and you will always see something that is kind. It's very spontaneous. Um, okay, so I'm gonna skip Kilner for now. And oh boy, okay, yeah, I want to talk about that, but I won't because the time runs. It's taught something very interesting is that when you look at different cultures, one of the things that you see in all of them is kindness and compassion at the core of their beliefs. So this is, in India, they talk about anahata, which is the chakra of the heart. Um, it's in the Lotus Sutra. It's a 2,000 years old book, and they talk about opening the heart. It's all about how our whole energy comes from the heart. It supports a loving manner. Mm, okay, in Chinese philosophies, the heart is the emperor of the body. I studied Qigong, and Qigong is 5,000 years old. And look at that. The power of the person resides is the spirit. They call this the spirit. The Shen is in the heart. So it's culturally valid. What and in Christianism, it's not practiced the way it should be. But if there's something absolutely beautiful about Christianism, is to love thy neighbor, right? And he was so okay with children. He was fighting with like the disciples were putting the kids out there because they were bothering the master. And he said, let the children come to me. And look at what Matthew says is um, the kingdom of heaven belongs to the children. Which absolutely what it means is they are not bad people. They don't come, with this rotten heart. They're they're pure, right? And so we need to look at the children in a different way if we want to do compassionate parenting. Mm, okay, so I'm gonna skip this one. So empathy, we're born with it, but I mentioned already that it needs to be cultivated. So there's the our capacity to be empathetic depends less on genetic makeup and more on the culture in which you are born. And the first culture is your family. Um, Okay, there's a study that says that we tend to be more empathetic. We have the advantage that when we have the child, our body is flooded with oxytocin, and we're going to talk about this a little bit more. Oxytocin is the bonding hormone. It allows the mother to bond with the child. So see, even it's in our anatomy, it's in our physiology, it's in our biochemistry. Okay, so these are the guiding questions when we're going to do hard-minded parenting. Um, how do we love more and better? How do we serve more and better? Can we educate in love instead of in fear? Can we raise children to connect instead of to compete and achieve? Can we encourage children to respond to adversity with true benevolence rather than with antagonism, aggression, or avoidance? And can we outplace competition with compassion? Um, these are your questions for your journal this time, okay? Because yeah, I remember. I was teaching about this to a group of teachers and mental health counselors. It was some event by the Mental Health Association of Southwest Florida. And I said this, I talked about competition, and one of the teachers raised her hand and say, "Okay, what was the question?" And she say, how do we get them to do anything if it's not by competition? She had this idea that the children would not even function well, will not perform well in school, will not get good grades if they were not competing. So, and we have these other ways of making them compete, right? So this is in preschool. You see the teacher offering what? Happy faces, right? So whenever you think of, who is the most, who is the best, who does better, that's competition. Silence in the room. You've seen this, right?
I've noticed too, hanging out with parents like outside of the therapy world and like more of a social setting, parents are always comparing children to each other.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, he walked at this age, she talked at this age, they did this at that age. And it's like a part of socializing as parents, but it is like that competition almost of like, my kid hit this
Absolutely.
developmental marker at this age.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
I was just gonna say, Sylvia, when you were saying that about the teacher, I imagine what would happen if every time a kid would earn a happy face, it would go into a bucket for the classroom rather of themselves. Like if it would be just like happy faces to the classroom, and I don't know, something like that. I
Yeah,
think
still
children would be.
there's a singled child, right? The child has been singled, right?
uh,
But you give me an idea. I think it could be say, hey, with your behavior today, you contributed to the class being calmer, or
exactly.
or it was easier for everybody to learn because you behaved so well, But it's still singling out that child.
Mhm.
So if you're singling out, you're fostering competition. You are looking for approval, right? So you're behaving in a certain way, looking for approval, and the reward is that you have a leadership in that classroom. So I'm not sure about that. Make sense?
100%.
Okay. All right. So science says, can we do love? Can we love more and better? Yes, we have a choice, and this choice leads us to what I call the conscious evolution of humanity. I'm going to confess a sin. Um, I am playing with the AI. I don't like. I've never generated content with AI for my writing or for anything. But I think that it's going to be unavoidable to use AI. And I think AI is going to teach us so many things. And so many people have resistance to using it. And I am saying, no, it's like if after they invented the computer, we would have said, no, we have typewriters. Why would we use the computer? We need to go with progress in that sense. I'll tell you, I had an experience this week that blew my mind. Somebody presented me with an application. I'm looking to put together my courses in podcasts. And somebody who's helping me say, I ran into this application and it's kind of interesting. You might want to look into that. Was an AI application, and I put my book, a whole book. It's like 320 pages book called Heartminded, and and I put my book, the whole file in the application. and they generated a podcast. I'm going to share it with you.
What?
They generated a podcast in which three people discuss about the book.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, oh my God, they know about this book. I mean, it's so perfect. It's so, I was like, oh my God, this is, it's really interesting. It's really interesting. Um, it's not generating no content. It's just taking the ideas. I mean, in 5 minutes, they took in the book and they summarize it in 13 minutes. I was so amazed. So that's evolution, okay? And we're gonna have to accept that this is coming. And okay, so just for you to be prepared for what's coming. Okay, that's Diana. Look at there. Okay, so fear. Fear motivates some parenting strategies. And this is what most of the uh, parenting practices elicit in the child. When you are overprotecting the child is asking, "Am I capable?" Remember Alice Schaefer? Oh, come on. Okay. When the parent has the no as a default answer, the child will always be um, wondering, am I bad? Is the world a dangerous place? When the child is pushed to compete or perform, um, all they are concerned, the child will only be concerned about achieving. And the child will ask, am I a failure? Am I enough? So we're not going to talk about trauma today. Um, Let me go where I want to go. Let me see. We are going to have time today to do this thing that I want to do. Let me see. Okay. Um, where is it? Why is it so far? Okay. Did you look at the video that I asked you to look at? Yes? No? No? You remember? No? You didn't look at the video, my video. No? The hard-minded video? Nobody?
The video that you
I
sent.
think we thought that was the recording.
Okay. If you go to YouTube and you look for heart, mind, no. Yeah, I should say Heartminded and Casabianca. You will get a couple of videos. One is in Spanish, is summarized, and the other one is a longer one in English. Well, Lizzie's having trouble with her connection. Are you there, Lizzie?
She's restarting her.
Yeah, I don't know. It kept freezing, and then I tried to get back in. So I just restarted my computer. Hopefully, I don't know because the internet's working. I don't know what the issue is.
All right. So the video that I was mentioning talks about this idea that was brought by Paul Gilbert. You see the name on the top, right, in his book Compassionate Mind, which is an awesome book. Paul Gilbert. Paul Gilbert is the founder of psychotherapy thing that is called compassionate focus therapy. I have only done the introductory training. I don't know if I want to continue doing the full training, but it's worth looking into his ideas. And what he says is, he links with neuroscience, right? He says we have three main centers in the brain that regulates emotions. One is, everybody knows, is the threat center, which is the fight or flight. response, right? Everybody knows about this. And the feelings associated with the activation of this center are fear, rage, insecurity, anxiety. Uh, is called also the safety, the safety, how do you call it, center, the safety center. Whenever we perceive something as a threat, I might lose my job, etc. You go into that threat center, and that's your first reaction is all these feelings. But we have a drive system also, and this is in a higher place in the brain. We can look at the neuroanatomy at some point if we want. I'm going to give you the general ideas today, and we're going to go deeper next time. But the drive system is the one that makes us compete. But it's very important because the drive system, based on dopamine and serotonin, the drive system is what motivates us to do things. So it's very important, and we have it, and we need it, and it's okay. What we don't want it to do is to run the whole picture of our lives. And then Shelley Taylor, in around the beginning of the century, she was looking at stress studies. She was studying stress, and she realized something very interesting. She said, most of the studies that have been done on stress have been done on males, not females. And she was puzzled. And so she started to observe, and she realized that men and women had completely different ways of reacting to stress. So I'm going to ask you guys, what do you do when you're terribly stressed? What do you do?
Eat ice cream.
Okay. What else?
Eat sugar.
Okay.
Or thinking.
Mm-hmm.
I isolate. I like shut down.
Okay. So she found that most women affiliate with others when they are stressed. They get together. They talked about what happened. They call their best friend. They call their mother. But when they are stressed, they tend to affiliate. While most men, they isolate, which is very interesting. And so she started to study that, and she discovered that there is an area in the prefrontal cortex that regulates all behaviors that are affiliative. Sorry, I am, my voice is so terrible today. So for example, self-care, maybe you isolate to self-care, and the man doesn't do that. He goes to the gym and runs and runs and runs, right? Maybe you look for somebody to give you a hug, to somebody that you can talk to, and you will be comforted. You're looking for comfort, somebody to comfort you. And so this center, when it is activated, brings you these feelings of calm. You can trust, you feel safe, okay? And this is activated when you have a child. You're flooded with oxytocin because you need to, care for the child. You need to like the child, first of all. And I don't know if I have, there's a slide that shows that women, those are the centers. So that you have the reptilian brain where the fight or flight response starts. You have the limbic brain where you have the second the competing thing, the drive system, and you have the neocortex that's pointing to the wrong place. As actually, it's the prefrontal cortex around here, where you have the whole neocortex has to do with thinking, but there's a special place in the front of the corpus callosum, whatever it's called in English, that has to do with consciousness, with rational thinking, and with empathy. So it's what we're doing with the children and the families is trying to activate the neocortex. That's why the breathing is important. There's a center in the brain. We're going to talk about that at some other point. But there's a center in the brain that when you start breathing, sends some signals to this other prefrontal cortex center and allows you for it to calm down. What time is it? Oh, okay. So I'm going to go very fast through this, and we're going to go in depth later in another meeting. So this Shelley Taylor called Tend and Befriend system, and is based on empathy. These are the feelings associated with the tend and befriend. This is the hormone that is released. And interesting thing is that the oxytocin is more effective in women because the estrogens make the receptors for oxytocin more sensitive. So the oxytocin bonds easier with the cells than in men. Interesting fact. mm, Many men, many men, they after having sex, they retreat, and they don't know why. They have sex, they retreat, and the partner is looking for connection. They had a nice moment, they had an orgasm, and now they want to come together and feel close. Women, men feel odd, and they retreat a little bit. So it turns out that what happens with the orgasm is the androgen goes down a little bit. Men feel vulnerable. They have produced oxytocin, and they, even though it's the bonding hormone, they feel odd. This is not their normal state. And that's what explains why that happens to men. Mm. Now, one problem with the tend and befriend system is when the threat system, the fight or flight response, is active, it overrides the tend and befriend. So this is, I am gonna just leave it so that you read when you look at the video, okay? But it seems that this, from the evolutionary point of view, this response is related to maternity, motherhood. Mm, and that's why females, you know, in very old times, they bonded with other females to tend for the children, right? That's part of the befriend part of the model. And males have had more solitary things. Like you think of hunters. Hunting, you might go in a group, but the act of hunting is a solitary act, right? Instead, look at towns where all the ladies go to the river to wash their clothes, and they sing together, and they do these things together. They are tending and befriending. Mm. If you have the opportunity to leave this, gosh, not the book, but at least there are a few articles with this tending instinct topic. If you have the opportunity, please find them and read them. I think I did something wrong. No. Okay. Okay, so this is what I see, about the heart-minded, is that if we care, we tend to serve. If we serve, we tend to bond. If we bond, we soothe each other. And if we soothe each other, we thrive as society. And it's a circle. This is absolutely mine. Nobody, I haven't found this anywhere else, but this is the way I see it. And think about it and put something about this in your journal, okay? It's important to see the role that we can play when we learn to raise children with compassion. It has a whole, a worldwide dimension to it. Okay, so I'm going to go very fast here because I want to just describe very fast the other systems. I can, okay. Oh, that was a nice sentence. As for neuroscience. But it's important because what neuroscience shows us is that change is possible. Okay? Change is possible. The brain is like a garden, is what the sentence says. It's always growing and changing. So look at this. The status of women in caregiving. We spend twice as much time caring for and helping household members. We are more in informal caregiving, and 66% of all caregivers are women. Within the health sector, in many countries, women comprise over 75% of the workforce in the health system. About 77% of teachers are women, more in the primary schools, but that's also true. So this shows this inclination in women towards caregiving, but that is just because this center has not been stimulated as well in men. We need to. Okay, go. See, there you are. This is, and sometimes we don't see this is our strength, but it is. We teach, we volunteer, we care for children, and we are in the healthcare system. As a majority of the population is female. And this is what I see Heartminded can have as impact on the planet. Cooperation, solidarity, considering that our problems concern the members, all the members in the group. And cooperation for me is the main thing. And it comes from empathy and compassion. We're going to have to leave it there. I want to, if you have any questions about, we're going to go from there the next time. Okay, where are we? There you go.
It's 11 o'clock.
I have to log off. Thank you, Silvia. I will touch base with you later.
Not today, you say?
No, today. I'll text you after. I have a session right now. I'll text you after that.
You're gonna what? Call me or what?
Yeah, I can call you after. Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Okay. All right. Thank
ladies,
you.
Any quick question?
No. I also have a session, Sylvia.
Okay.
Thank you so much for everything.
No, you're very welcome. I think we're gonna do 2 more sessions. It's important for you guys to look at the video Do you know what video is that, Diana?
Lizzie just said it.
I sent something that I found that says Brain-Minded by Silvia Casabianca. Yeah, is that what it was?
Let me put it.
Lizzie sent the link to the group text.
I did.
That's in the
That was
chat.
you? Never mind. Diana sent the link to the group text. I thought that was Lizzie.
But I just don't know if it's the right one.
Fine.
It's called Brain-Minded Parenting in YouTube.
It's called. Oh boy, I have Heartminded from Fear to Solidarity. That one.
Speak any language at the touch of a button. Yes, now.
Okay, so this is, I put in the chat. Where's the chat? They changed buttons. Okay, please copy the link. Okay.
Is that the link? Can you copy it, please, and send it over?
Yes?
I got it.
Okay.
Okay, I lost it. Oh, no, there it is.
Heartminded, conscious evolution
Shush,
from
shush,
fear
shush,
to
shush.
solidarity.
Shush. Which shush? It's not shushing.
There it goes.
It's shushed. Okay, it's shushed.
So
I got it. I'll send it out.
You owe me notes from last time,
I do.
and please send your notes.
Okay.
This part, the reflection part, is more important than anything else. Okay? Thank you for listening. I am happy to be here with you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay.
Silvia, I have a question. Okay, bye, guys.
Bye.
Silvia, I have a question. For the last meeting, or you sent us an email that you explained the way that we have to. I can hear you.
Hold on.